Hello and welcome to All Four United with me, John Foster from MUFC, and Nat. How you doing, Nat?
Hi, John. I'm doing good, as always.
Great to hear, mate. And it's going well. This is our third show now, so we've had a couple of exciting guests and a couple more exciting guests lined up. Today we've got Matt with us. You okay, Matt?
I am, yeah. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Not too bad. Thank you for coming on. I do appreciate it. Matt's part of the Barmy Army as well, and there's a lot of work on the social media side of things, which we'll talk about shortly. But the main reason why I've got Matt on today is to talk a bit about our homegrown players. So players who have come through the Man United ranks, had to leave the club because there was no senior team up until 2018, and now obviously they're back with us. So Matt, just what's your background regarding the women's team?
Yeah, so obviously we in our third season now in terms of United Women. I've been there since the very start. Met Natalie and the rest of the Barmy Army. I think it was the Tottenham game, so possibly the third, maybe the fourth game in off the top of my head. And kind of got hooked, shall we say, from there. Prior to obviously United, I'd watched a few other teams. First game was in 2015, so 14-15 season, just before the World Cup in Canada. So yeah, I've kind of had quite a few experiences, shall we say, but none so much as good as obviously joining, you guys every Sunday or midweek game. So yeah.
That's it. I mean, what's your first memories of Matt and joining the Barmy Army, all of you together?
Yeah, definitely, like he says, the Tottenham game. I sort of remember him to the side, and I remember going up to him and just speaking to him, going, I think he was like speaking to Tim. I was like, how do you know them? He's like, just go up to him, speak to them. And I was like, no, you can't do that. And he went, yeah, that's great, man. And I just think I just stopped there and spoke to them, and they were like, wow, you're here. Oh my God. And I just couldn't believe it. So yeah, Matt sort of like guided me on the way, told me good players. Say if we ever link to someone, I always say, oh, what do you think of this? If I see someone new who I've never seen before, I always say, I've seen this player, what do you think? Sometimes disagree on it, but most times, I'll say I like this one, and he'll say, yes, me too. Or I'll give him some names, and he'll say, oh, yeah, good or no, not, say in the transfer market. It's been good, though, following, obviously, and you came along. It's been good. It's just growing all the time, and, Matt's not a person who says, oh, I'm been here since this time. It's just always about growing your knowledge. Everyone's always growing, so it's just important to see, and he's always willing to talk, and that's what you want, because, we're so young as women's team. There are people that have been supporting, like Matt since 2015 in the Barmy Army too, so I think it just shows that we're truly ingrained in women's football, really, Barmy Army.
Yeah, and you mentioned there about being able to talk to the players, and obviously that's one of the biggest difference between the women's matches and the men's matches. You have got that connection with the players, and you can speak to them. Matt, obviously you've been like a fan for, like you say, at least 5 years. Then, have you seen that kind of develop? Then, like the closeness between the players, has it always been there, or has it just been something that's happened over the last couple of 3 years, or have you always felt comfortable just like talking to the players after the game or before the game?
Yeah, I think pretty much. I mean, as far as I've been going, it's been a thing. I mean, obviously, the bigger it gets, sometimes the more difficult it may be. But I think sort of back when I first went, it wasn't really a thing where there was lots of people. I mean, now you go to Lee, and crowds are a lot bigger, and people, chatting and taking pictures of the players, etc., is a lot more popular now. I think what's great is obviously 5 years down the line for me is that there's still that same consistency. Very lucky as fans that we kind of, get this, as Nat and yourself mentioned before, it's very different to the men. And I think, it just kind of, it makes you feel more, I'd say, valued, more part of the family. I do like to call it a family, because at the end of the day, it's like everybody's in it together, whether that's fans, it's players, everybody wants the best. And I think, kind of over the years, it's been great that despite the game getting a lot bigger, the players and the game in general still kept that kind of fan and player interaction, really.
I mean, what else adds on that, and we were talking about it, John, anyone who's sort of watching now or, watches later, look at Casey Stoney's tweet where she just uses all the pictures of the fans and she just says, you know, it's nothing without you. And I mean, I know everyone says that, but you can really feel it. You know, she don't tweet for nothing. She doesn't tweet lies, so you know, it's just, I bet it's killing them like it is us. So
I love that tweet. Apart from one thing, it's got a picture of the Barmy Army. I was standing right next to you in that, and then just cut off. So you're at the end, cut off. Done. Okay, look.
I've made a meme out of that. Yeah, someone's done a little design of me.
Yeah. Look, we'll talk about Katie Zelem, our captain, shortly, being homegrown, and all the other homegrown players that we've got. But just before we get onto that, Matt, you obviously do a lot more for the Barmy Army. You know, you're not just part of the Barmy Army who support them in the crowd. You do a little bit of work behind the scenes. You do a lot of work on our socials. Do you want to just quickly just run us through that? You know, what guys can expect to see on our socials before we get started?
Yeah, of course. So I started back, it must have been, I think, start of last season, kind of running the socials. There's a few of us do it, but I kind of run the main sort of things you'll see. So obviously, for example, see the Throwback Thursdays. So any pictures that I've taken at a game, I'll put on there just to, you know, keep the content. Obviously, as you'll know, because you've been part of the Feel Good Friday as well yourself, kind of just basic interaction, really, just, you know, putting pictures on there of kind of last season we did something new. We had a sort of a fans takeover thing. So as well as doing our fan cams, I've kind of done a bit on Instagram on a match day, just getting thoughts of people, whether that be on the bus or outside the ground, and then sort of half-time, full-time reviews as well, just again, you know, to keep the content going. And that's kind of across Twitter and Instagram. So that's been my sort of main thing, plus obviously hosting the odd fan cam when we've been at games and, you know, being able to obviously attend things like that. So yeah, kind of just that mainly, and then a little bit of the merchandise as well. Again, there's a small group of us that kind of chat between us, come up with ideas, get costings and things, do all the advertising, and then kind of, yeah, just put it out there really and get kind of word out to all the other fans.
Yeah, and that, I mean,
with that press and heave stuff, that is fantastic. I need to get onto that.
Yeah. You guys do a cracking job with the Barmy Army promoting women's football, and every tweet that comes out, whether it be breaking news or just like you say, Matthew, regular content every Thursday, every Friday, every Monday that I see as well. He just keeps the name out there, keeps the women's team out there. So if they might have missed it, or if they're new to Twitter, then obviously they'll come across it, and that's what it's all about. Look, I want to talk about our homegrown players. So we've got Katie Zelem. We've got Millie Turner, we've got Kirsty Hansen, we've got Ella Toon, we've got three more that we'll talk about who doesn't get much game time at the moment, but it's definitely worth talking about. But what I think is noticeable out of those four players that I've just named, all of them are real key players for us. So they've come up through our academy, and now me and Nat were saying last week, you just can't leave four of them out. You know, it's really hard. One of them's our captain. One of them is probably potentially our best centre back. I think Ben last week was saying that she's our first name on the team sheet. We've got Kirsty Hansen, who I'm a massive fan of, and you know, she's on the form of her life. And we've got Ella Toon, who's also on the form of her life. So, Nat, I mean, do you want to get us started on Katie Zelem and what your thoughts are on the first season, second season?
Yeah, Zelem, I love her. For me, first season, best standout. Well, she wouldn't play of the year. One of the standouts definitely of that season. Free kicks are amazing. If anyone saw the game versus Birmingham, I know the FA player and the Barclays WSL retweeted, but that was like a sublime free kick. I think she's solid. I mean, when I first saw her versus Aston Villa, and I looked at her and I thought, I first saw her against Reading, I thought she dictated then, I thought she did really well. But then when I saw her against Villa, and yes, we were part-time, we were full-time, they were part-time, but I thought she was bossing the game. I even said to her, you remind me of Paul Scholes, and she just laughed in my face. She's just, for me, fabulous. I think when she got the captain, there was between her and Mill, another homegrown. But obviously, like I've heard people say, you know, Zelly's right for it. You know, Zelly steps up to the mark of being a captain. They really feel like you can rely on Zelly. You know, she's still young herself. She got her England call up, and unfortunately, the COVID happened for her, and she couldn't go forward for that. But I think she would have done really well, you know, in those 2 games that they played, training games. For me, I think she just needs to carry on, push on with what she's doing. You know, obviously they've got standing for lad in there, so obviously it's going to be tough for everyone. But that's what you want to see. You love to see competition. That's what's going to push her and make her be get more England call ups and things like that. I think we played Chelsea. She's gone, and I think she won Player of the Match this season, and I think she really shone then for me as well. For me, you know, people say they don't like when Zelly and Lad play because it's like a double pivot, but I think at times maybe last year we didn't need it. I think it worked well for Chelsea. There's not really much more I can say. She's our captain, Katie Zelem.
Yeah, I think she had a cracking couple of seasons. I think to keep Jessica went out to Player of the Year in the first season, you know, with all the goals that she scored, you know, it would have been easy to have picked Jess maybe, and to beat Millie Turner to the captaincy in that summer, because I think at one point Millie Turner was captain in I think a pre-season game. Yeah. So I actually thought Millie was going to get it, to be fair. Matt, I mean, what's your earliest source of Katie Zelem? Did you ever hear of her before she come back to Man United in 2018? Did you ever see her play at all? Or
yeah, so I'd seen Katie play at Liverpool, which was obviously where she'd spent time before United. And for me, I think I was looking at the team when it got launched in 2018, and obviously you've got names that stick out, and I think she was one of them. Obviously, like I said, I'd kind of seen her at Liverpool, and she was somebody that she actually played further forward. She was more, I think, like Nat said, we tend to sit her in a pivot. But I think for me, she does more damage and potentially could be more influential for us if we got rid of the double pivot, in a more advanced role. I think, like Nat's touched on, you look at these free kicks, you look at passing as well. But I think what people may have not seen yet, which I've seen at Liverpool, is she can actually hit a ball very well. We see LJ and she'll just, edge of the box, she can hammer it. And I think if we push Katie further forward, we will potentially see that. Again, Nat said we've got competition for places, but I think, you're looking for leaders. And I think what's good is that obviously, one, you've got somebody that's experienced. Katie's played WSL. She's actually won it, I think, twice with Liverpool when they were half decent. So you've got kind of a good core of experience, what I'd say leaders in the team at the moment. Again, we touched earlier, Millie's a good one, we'll get onto her in a bit, obviously, but it's just good to see now options and obviously the team progressing year by year. I think Katie in year 1 at United, as Nat said, she was player of the year, one of our standout players. I think sort of last year you saw what I'd say a better version of her. I think she was, more consistent. Obviously, the set pieces were more noticeable, whether that's because we got more. And I think just an all-around more kind of mature and experienced player now. And obviously, like Nat said, she got her England call up, and sadly, we've not been able to see yet what she can do in terms of the international stage. But, fingers crossed when the time comes again, I think it's end of this month, she could be in with a shout.
Yeah, I think the same. I think you touched on how good she is further forward up the pitch, and it is awkward this season with all the competition for places up there. I think it's something like 18, 19 goals she scored for it across a couple of seasons, which isn't bad for, like you say, more of a box-to-box midfielder or double pivot midfielder. So, it shows what quality is there. How to get ahead of, we were talking last week, that number 10 role, there is quality in positions there. So, but again, that just shows the strength and depth of what we've got in that midfield now. And another midfielder, Ella Toon. Matt, I mean, you seem to know a lot about Ella. I mean, are you from the same area or what? You just seem to some of the things that you mentioned on some of the group chats. I'm like, how on earth would you know that? But you seem to know a hell of a lot. So, what's your memories of Ella?
I'll start from the beginning. I'll keep it because I don't want to keep you all night. But so I currently coach a lads under 18s team. And I've been doing this now for 11 years. So back then, Toonie was about 7, maybe 8. And the girls' team she played for needed a coach. So it just so happened they trained at the same place the hour after us. So I actually coached that for a couple of months and coached her. Then they got a manager, so I went back to doing the lads. Then got to high school, or she got to high school, should I say. And obviously she kind of, she popped up again. Very into a sport. So I've known Toonie for ages, a while. So I kind of got into that side of things through obviously coaching, teaching, stuff like that. So I've seen Ella kind of when she was 16 break through at Blackburn. And surprisingly, I don't know who knows or if many know, but she did start off as sort of a wide player. So she was like a winger or a wide forward. Again, very kind of talented, very quick. She possesses, various skills. She was always, tricks and I think even now you still see her attempting things, with Millie, attempting all these tricks and flicks and things. But someone that's just, I don't know, I'd say progressing massively. I think from when I saw her as a youngster, like I say, in Blackburn, she got a very big move to City. And that was kind of, I don't know, it was probably difficult because she only made a couple of games. They did have her in the development team as well. But I think once she got herself out of that environment and obviously came back to United, I think, we've started to see now consistent run of games, a better all-around player. I think for me, it was interesting actually because obviously she came, like I said, as kind of a forward / a wide player. And interestingly, Casey put her kind of more centrally. Now for me, I was like, oh, okay, like this is something I hadn't obviously known and kind of seen over the years. And I was like, oh, right, okay, fair enough. Even like back in the school teams, it was not somewhere she'd played. So I think credit to her there for kind of, adapting and making that role not only her own, but, shining in that role. I think the first season was she second, maybe third top scorer. She was up there. Obviously last season, again, she may not have got as many chances as she liked, but, I think there wasn't many times that I can recall that she, kind of put a foot wrong, so to speak. I think, every performance with Ellie, what you get. You're getting the work rate. She's kind of up and down now in the middle. She's quite an intelligent player. I think, the way if you look at kind of, some of the passes or some of the movement, she's very clever with how she kind of works that into a game. And I think, Faith has kind of been rewarded. Obviously, she got a new deal, didn't she, in the summer? So I'm excited now to see where she goes. Obviously, I haven't seen her from it was like under 16s, under 17s World Cup with England as well to senior call the other week. I was absolutely buzzing for her. So big things to come from her, I think.
It must be great to see you like grow up. Obviously, you touched on like being able to like coach you at some point as well as a youngster, but it must be great to see one of like the local players actually coming through and play at such a high level, and just watch her career develop. So not only just going to bigger and better teams at higher levels and now nationally, but seeing how a game might change as well. Like you say, going from like a wide player into like I've only seen in that like central attacking role. I mean, Nat, was you surprised to see her come in field or? I haven't seen too much of her out wide, to be honest. I'm not too sure myself.
And so when I met training, he said, Toonie don't play out wide. I thought, Toonie don't play down number 10. I thought, you serious? And then obviously, like, I thought, oh, maybe, they should play her. And I didn't know. The championship was just goals. Everyone was getting them for everywhere. It was free for all. It was easy for all. But I think last year, she really, towards the middle, she really just cemented that 10 for me. Our last game versus Everton, she was the player of the match. She was in and around, and I think she's the perfect 10 for me because she's quick. She's got that movement, her vision, the way she thinks. I think she thinks quicker than some players, and I think she knows where the ball's going to be. She gets into the runs into the box. We talked about it before, John, last week on talking about 10s, and I was saying Toonie for me is a perfect 10 for us. And it's strange then Matt playing, she's never played 10 and she only played it like 2 years and a bit, and that just shows what an intelligent player she is to be able to pick up a role like that. Bet into it in the championship, develop yourself season 1, and then now, bang, you're one of the best 10s for me. And so I'm sure people will debate, but one of the best 10s in the WSL. And I saw some stats like chances created this season, 4 chances, Ella Toon, and she got a goal, she got assists, and just I think as well it's like a pre-assist. The goal versus Chelsea, it was just like a one-touch pass over her shoulder, and Jackie ran into it, and it's just little things like that. I mean, for me, the best assist last season, even if it was a game that we lost, it was versus West Ham. And I think they showed it at United. It was Lauren Dangerous goal, and the way she kicked that ball and the way it curled round with the outside of the foot, it was just beautiful assist. So anyone go and watch that on the United Women website, that goal from Lauren versus West Ham. But that for me was perfect. What can you say about Clooney? For me, I think, finally she got her England call up. That's what she deserved. All throughout, last season and 18, she's been in like 21. And then, it's only just that natural step up to go to first team now. So I'm glad for him. Happy she's doing well, and hopefully, start Sunday and we get 3 points and she gets a goal or an assist.
Yeah. Matt, what would you say, what was the turning point, or what was the age kind of group where you thought, okay, Tooney's actually going to be a proper player here in the WSL or the Championship, because it's still a success to be in any of those 2 tiers, or what were you surprised when it happened, or talk to me about the time where she actually started to break through and your reaction to that.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think when I first came kind of back in touch with her and got back in touch out of high school, it shocked me that at the time she was kind of Blackburn's best player. And, I don't mean too much disrespect to Blackburn with that. Obviously, they were 3rd tier at the time, but I went down. Tooney was banging like 30, 35, 40 goals a season. And I'm just like, how, age 16 as well, you're doing this, and you've got like some of these players that kind of Blackburn had at the time, they'd been top level, they'd been at the likes of City when they first formed, and, other big clubs, and kind of Ella was just, I don't know, she kind of went in there with this confidence. She was this little 16-year-old kid telling these seasoned pros kind of, oh, play this pass, I want it here, I want it there. And it was just incredible. And then obviously, she got this move to City, and I remember the day she came in, and she was absolutely buzzing. She was like, oh, because she was obviously due to leave school as well. She's like, oh yeah, I'm off to City now. And I was like, oh, not sure I'm happy with the choice in club, because obviously she's a big red and all the family are as well. So I was like, right, okay. So obviously went from watching Tooney at Blackburn to City, and I think even at City you could see, she was straight in with the first team in terms of training. She was in that environment in the squad. And then I think it was Sunderland in the cup they played. It was an away game, and they brought her on after around 60 minutes, and there was something, I don't know, it just kind of clicked then for me. I think she came on, she made a massive impact, and then she hit the winner in extra time. And it was one of them where you think, wow, okay. And then, she got, I think it was 2 more games after that. And then she was, struggling for game time. So they actually loaned her back to Blackburn. And again, it was like she never left Blackburn. She was straight in from January. And I think January to May, she finished again with something ridiculous, like 32 goals. So she'd gone in at the kind of 3rd tier. She'd gone up a level straight to the top. Obviously back to the 3rd tier, like she'd never been away, and then kind of, found her feet at United. But I think for me, she's got the work ethic, she's got the ability. It's just been about a run of consistent games. And I think, obviously sadly at City, she didn't get that. Fair enough. She had a few development games, won a couple of trophies there. I think they won the cup and the league. Same team as actually Fran Bentley that season. But yeah, I think just, as I mentioned before, there's so much to come from Tooney. I think if she wants it, she can be whatever she wants to be. But I think for me, I've got to credit Casey as well. Like I obviously mentioned before, I think to see her potential to play that central role, to kind of mould her into that player we've got now, and then for Tooney to kind of take that on and adapt, is a credit to obviously Tooney herself, but obviously massive credit to Casey for me.
Mm-hmm. Me and Nat was mentioning last week about Kirsty Hansen developing off the pitch, off the field, gaining confidence. I mean, has either of you seen a difference in Ella over the last few years at all, developing that confidence? For me, I think she's got it, but to me, I've always been fairly confident anyway. I mean, Matt, have you seen any difference with her off the field at all in the last few years?
I think off the field, yeah. I mean, I think, I don't know if you remember the conversation, Nat, when I said to you she was quite shy and quite quiet. And I think it probably shocked you, because now you see Toonie and she's kind of, I don't know, she's full of this energy, and she's like, I don't know, like a double team with Millie Turner, you know, and they bounce off each other, and it's great. I think it's probably one of them where I think at the time we came in as fans, and the players weren't used to it, and we always used to get comments, you know, oh, best fans, the loudest. And I think some of them were they didn't know how to take us. And I remember Lauren James as well, and I said to her, oh, she's dead quiet, and Nat was like, no, she'll be fine, she'll get used to us and all this. And I think it's probably the same for Toonie, you know. I think once they get to know that, you know, we mean no harm, we might be absolutely crazy, but we're harmless, you know. I think they warm just and come out the shell. Probably find that now.
With the new one.
Yeah, you will.
Definitely with Toonie, I think, if anything, no, I think she was shy. I mean, I remember just last season I said, oh, what was shy? And she sort of stepped back and went, I'm not shy. And I thought, oh, this is a new Toonie. But definitely in the first season she was shy. But she always used to say, you're mad at you, you're mad at you. She's the one who sort of
coined that was where it came from, wasn't it? From that game, that postponed game. Because we were walking back up to the bus, and I messaged her. I said, gutted it's off. I said, but safe trip back. And she said, oh, you lot are all madheads. I love it. See you next week. And since we got called madheads, that was it. We've literally got like flags. It's just like the nickname. But I never forget that first time she came in and she saw you. She's like, oh, did you see that crazy lady in the corner? She was going. It was just hilarious, just the way she described it. She was absolutely like frightened to death. Literally, she's like, "Oh, that you know, dead loud in the corner. She's crazy," but it was just so funny. It really was.
No,
that was even before I knew you as well.
Now. She loves the fans. I mean, I don't think, like, for example, Sheffield, one of the first games, I remember everyone started singing "Toonie's on Fire," and I remember seeing her like dance to it. And I think, like you say, it took a while, but I think they warmed up. And I think, even just in terms of, say, like development, I've seen her just with Toonie that we saw in the championship. With Toonie now, he's a completely different player. Absolutely, like. I mean, when I saw her in the championship, I thought, oh yeah, this is good, but she wasn't a player that I would say, oh, as a standout. But now I think she's fine, one of the first names on the team sheet, if anything. And I think that's, you know, like you said, credit to Katie putting her at 10, and credit to her for working so hard and doing it.
Nat, what's your earliest memory of Toonie?
Probably like what Craney says. Craney's telling me she was calling you mad, and she was doing this and all this, and then obviously we had a Charlton game, and she was like, you madheads. And I remember there was another game, we did a video and we all were singing, and then she like retweeted it on her profile and was like, the madheads are coming and stuff like that. But I've never actually spoke to her face to face. And even still now, it is a bit. I think if I went up to her on my own, it would be a bit. She'd probably be a bit like, "Oi!" But when she's with everyone, she's fine. She could holler me over, "Oh, Nat, come here," and all this. But if she was on her own, it would probably be a different story. But I think she knows it's just all love, and it's just, you know. Now I look at Toonie and everyone's Twitter. She's got like this massive fan club, and you know, there's people in France and there's people in America and in Norway, and it's just everyone loves Toonie. Germany, it's great to see, and that's what you want for the women's team, and it's just you want to be loved like the men's team now. And just shouting out, Rita, you're okay.
Thanks.
You know, it's great, and she loves it. And like Matt says, maybe at start they didn't understand. They didn't understand, like, we were just coming like men's fans, and that's what a lot of us were. We were fans went to Old Trafford, so obviously we're gonna come start singing, and they were like, oh wow, this doesn't happen a lot in the women's game, and it's normal now. And I think, you know, it must be weird that it is silent, you know.
You talking about the video, Nat? I don't know if it's the same one, but I think I have seen a video of you guys, and I think it was outside LSV, and you're jumping up and down. Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, I love that one.
Relates to the Throwback Thursday we put on Barmy Army today, Aston Villa, when we won the league, and I don't even remember what happened. I think I got a bus or I drove in or whatever, but everyone got absolutely wasted that night, and I think we were going up. Sunday we were going to win the league, and it's just bang. She came out, started singing. You can see Jess in the background video. Oh, everyone.
Great stuff. Speaking about winning the league, I have got my champions.
Hey.
Had to be done.
Next.
Let's talk about Millie Turner then. So, last week we were saying how, our centre-back pairing, who should it be? You were saying Millie Turner and Amy, or Millie Turner and Abby. It was always Millie, would be like the first name on the team sheet. And she's got, plenty of games under a belt for Man United. I think, is it 50 now, or is it 50 just gone, has it? I can't remember if she's got to the 50 mark, but I think it's coming up if it's not gone yet. Matt, obviously coming from our academy again, she's come, obviously she's come a long way, but she's had to again move out of Man United and come back in the game. What are your thoughts on how her career has gone?
Yeah, I think again, similar to Tooney, I think she's kind of, like you said, she's gone away because we didn't have a pathway into a first team. Millie went to Everton. At the time, they were WSL, had the likes of Tony Duggan there. I think Rachel Brown may have still just been about there as well. So a decent team, established team. And she went there as a youngster, played a few games, maybe not as many as she liked. But it was interesting. She actually, she's a centre half now. She started off kind of similar kind of role to Hayla Ladd, kind of defensive midfielder. She'd also been used in central midfield, and that was more so when she went to Bristol. So obviously Bristol was after Everton. She went down there 2 seasons. She was actually captain as well for Bristol. Again, somebody that, like Nat touched on before, she, potential candidate for United. However, I think just at the back now, much better as a centre half. I think for me, we've all kind of agreed and said, definitely first name in the team sheet. I think as a person, and as a player, developed massively again, like from what I saw in the early days of Millie. She's always been, very good in the air. She's very tall. I think the word leader comes to mind. She's very vocal. She's not afraid to kind of tell somebody if they need to up the game or where to be. She's very, very good communicator. And I think that's why we see kind of the best side of her. I think she helps people around her. She makes other people better. And she's come on massively. I think, like I say, since Everton and Bristol days now, she's come back home. Casey's taken her game to the next level, and obviously fully deserved. She got her England call-up as well. Yeah,
I can't think about, I can't do a show without talking about Ella and Millie, their relationship together as well. And Matt, over lockdown, where there was no games, how really them keeping us going, because those TikTok videos and everything that's happening on social media, or the water out off the top of the bedroom or out the window landed on the other one. Everybody's their relationship to watch. It's just brilliant to watch, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I think it was funny because, like you say, it kept everybody entertained. I think, you mentioned Millie Turner, and everyone just smile. Like, you can just mention the name, and everyone's got this big smile, and it's just, I don't know. Everybody has the favourites, and I think Millie's just everybody's favourite. You just love her for, like you say, everything she does. It was funny because obviously, like you say, all the pranks kind of, they went on last season as well, and in season 1, she's always kind of joking and messing about with others, and I think it's great to see. Kind of, you need that at times. Obviously pressure now of being, 1, a big club the size of Man United, and 2, under pressure now, especially in the top league, to kind of kick on season by season. I think she just doesn't seem fazed by anything. I don't think anything kind of gets to her. She's very calm on the ball. You might see her flying forwards at times, a couple of turns as well. She loves the great little Cruyff turns. So yeah, I think, but like I say, in terms of lockdown, it's very entertaining. We saw the bucket, and she just literally tipped water all over Tooney. It just like, oh, here we go. But I think Ella's yet to get her back. I did drop her a couple of suggestions that are probably gonna come back on me if these happen, because it involved hair dye and shampoo. But I'll not go into that, just in case that one of them kind of tunes in and I give the game away. But yeah, fingers crossed I'm not blamed for anything that they may or may not do in the future.
You give her ideas. She'll tune in and you'll give her ideas.
I'm sure she's got her own though. She can.
Yeah. She's absolutely different class. Like she is, like you said, John or Matt, whoever's, she might not be like your number one favorite. Your favorite might be like my favorite's Jess, but
yeah,
I absolutely adore Millie Turner. Like you can't not. Her relationship with the fans is amazing. Always personal, always, she loves it. She thrives off it. You see it from day one. I think she thrived off it. I think even Matt was telling me like Millie says this and da da da. And I think I remember when like the Turner and Turner song or something about Super Millie Turner. I said to her, "Oh, I like it," and she's like, "Oh, they made us like that," and like wow, like. And for me, it was just like a little tune of nothing, like a nursery rhyme tune. I'm buzzing me, that's sick. And it's just, wow. And I think the fact that, like, people like Craney said, she come in as a midfielder, central defensive midfielder. I mean, she's even talked about being a midfielder. For me, it's credit to Katie and her again. The way that she just totally changed the game. And like you say, she played over 50 matches. So it's not a case of, being found out or had to come in or had to do this. No, bang, she's been an ever-present. She's been solid in that defence. She's like the number one defender. And now, bang, she's into England, getting that recognition. I just think she's gonna basically can be whatever she wants to be. One of the best defenders I've seen. Going to be one of the best defenders, I think, for England. So it's good to see.
Look, she's learning off one of the best, isn't she, when it comes to Casey Tony as well in that position. So, Matt, when you saw Millie play, like before she come back to United, I mean, did you ever think that she was going to be as successful as she is at the moment, or did you think maybe she was going to come in for maybe 1 or 2 seasons as a bit of a stopgap until United potentially bought someone at a higher, like from you or somewhere, or did you kind of know that she was going to hit the ground running and be so good?
Yeah, I think it was difficult. I mean, at the time, obviously, it was one of them where, like I mentioned before, she didn't play as much as she would have hoped at Everton. But, however, she was still involved in England squads. And I think for me, it does say a lot that, if you are still involved in an England squad and you may not be getting many games at club level, there must be something about you. And I think, that move to Bristol did her wonders. I mean, one, she's talked about this before, it kind of took her out of her comfort zone. She was away from her family. She went down there living with kind of other girls. Just matured as a player and a person. I think now you kind of, you're seeing the best. You could always see glimpses, like I said earlier, she's been very good in the air, very calm on the ball. And I think just transitioning, from like a kind of centre mid / defensive midfielder now to somebody that's our, number one defender, speaks volumes for me. I think, again, still involved now, obviously, with the England seniors, just deservedly got a call up after ages. I think she's been one of them where she's been consistent for 3 years. So I think we've always, said between us that, she does deserve a look in, and she's kind of been involved with the 21s and 23s. And I think now you're kind of seeing a more mature, all-rounded, better player. And I think, she's 23, 24. So she's literally still start of her career, I think, which is fantastic for us, and it can only, get better.
One last question on Millie before we move on to Kirsty. Me, Nat, and Ben last week, we couldn't really decide who her partner should be at the centre back. I mean, have you got any preference between Amy or Abby?
Ooh, put me on the line here.
Well, we could. That's one thing that we couldn't really. I don't know if it's just because we was happy with either or what, but
yeah.
I think either. I think obviously Abby has been the last season, but I'm more than happy seeing her and Amy back together again. So just a question.
Yeah. No, I think definitely. No, I think you're right. I think to me, you're talking. Abby she brings what she does, and I'd say Amy's slightly more physical. I mean, for me, I'm pretty much on the fence. I'm not massively, favouring one over the other. I think, Amy, good, solid defender. She tackles well. Things like that. She's strong. Abby, she's been there. She's kind of had the know-how. She's played Champions League. She's been involved with England for a while. So I think it's good that we've got options as kind of a partner. But for me, I mean, there's no really, kind of one where I'd say definitely one and not the other. I think for me, it's more one helps the other. One kind of, obviously they're competing for one spot next to Millie. And I think it's great that kind of there's that balance where, if one's kind of maybe off form, the other one's there and they're in straight away. And, there's competition all the time, obviously all over the squad now, which is brilliant. But I think specifically, for that centre half role, and obviously prior to United, Amy had spent 2-3 years with terrible injuries, I'd say. She had terrible luck at Liverpool. Before that, Notts County. And yeah, I think it was pleasing to see her come to United, prove her fitness. And yeah, we got to see the Amy Turner that, was in that England team back in 2016.
Yeah. And that podcast, I don't know if you've seen it on the Man United app or MUTV. Amy Turner did do a podcast that lasted over an hour. I think it was a fantastic insight into her career and her life, where she went to America and came back. And if there is anyone who, in the comments or whoever sees this, I would definitely recommend that you find that podcast out, because it was an amazing interview with Amy Turner there. Reaper in the comments asked about Charlie Devlin. I'm guessing you guys saw more of her on the first season than I did. Nat, what was your thoughts on Charlie in that first season?
Yeah, I thought she was good. I thought she was decent. She didn't obviously probably get the game time that she wanted, but my thoughts on the statements made by her, I think are fine. This is what it is for me. And in a horrible way, we'll want to play a league, and then they talk about, I didn't get enough. For me, it was Charlie Devlin 14. Now we've got Jackie Gronan 14. Do I wish I stayed in the team? For me, I look at more Ebony Salmon and Nom Hartley. That's what I said at the time. Those were the ones who I was a bit more shocked about than Charlie. And where we're at now, and you really say, Charlie's what, a 10? Who we got in 10? Tooney, Lauren, Heath is there, Press, where are they going to play? Stanny's in. So maybe she would have played first season, but then would she have been in now?
Yeah.
And I love her for everything she's done. I love everyone for everything they've done. This is Nom Hartley's training jersey, from the first season. So for me, I'll always love everyone. We always call it the OG 21, the original 21 players. But I don't know. It's it's a horrible statement, but it is what it is.
Look, that's according to Casey Stoney wants to obviously. Yeah. We push as fans want to. We push Casey harder than anyone. We set our expectations before Tess and his came over. We want to give a fair football. We want top 3, and Casey has to make decisions. And she's very open about that being the most difficult part of the job. And we don't want to see our players go, do we? There's not one player that we're happy to see go. But obviously, to make room for new players, and unfortunately, some players do have to go, and that's the
transfer market, ins and outs. For example, the men's team is going to get rid of Smalling and Jones, and I know people might say, yeah, but for me, Smalling, he's doing well in Roma, and he's won trophies with us, at Man United. To get, say, the quality players that you want to push us to that next level, you are going to see potentially players, not comparing us to Smalling, but players drop out, players leave, and some of them players might be your favourites, might be players that you thought they're going to do this, that, and the other. It's just football. I don't know. Craney, I'll let you say. I know you were I am still a big Charlie fan, but you're a bigger Charlie fan than me. I'll accept that now.
I did try telling you this. Nat tried claiming Charlie from day one, but I think she knew in the end. But no, yeah, Charlie was one of my obviously favourites in season 1, obviously alongside Tooney. Got to be careful how much I talk up Charlie, but no, I think it was one of them, like Nat said, where everybody came in. We had kind of the 21, and I think it was always one of those where Casey was new to management. Some of those players had never played, WSL. We picked, a couple from the reserves, and I think it's one of them where it's kind of, for me, I call it sink or swim. You move away from your family, like some of those players did. Obviously, Charlie being one of them as well. you're thrown in there at this massive club. You've got everything done right. You've got, all the promo. You've literally, fantastic stadium, best fans as well. I'll chuck that one in there. But I think, like Nat said, Casey touching it as well, the club's got to evolve year on year. And I think if the club's not evolving, questions will be asked ultimately, one of Casey and two of kind of the club in general and their ambition. So I think, obviously I was devastated when she left. I was also surprised as well. I thought when she came on, or even when she started, pretty sure if she didn't score, she was up there, assisting. Gutted it didn't work out, but like Nat said, that's football. People come, people go, and I'm sure. Listen, there'll be more obviously next summer, more departures. Obviously, this summer we lost a few more originals. I'm sure Nat will tell you. Amy Palmer was another favourite. Another one. Some of us kind of question why, but then I think, you look at who's come in, you think actually, fair play. No disrespect to those that have left, but we've got, an England international, massive experience in Stanley. And we've got other players now, which fair play to Casey for kind of evolving and pushing for better, because that's what you want as a team and as fans. But it's one of them where the turnover of players is going to happen every season, whether that's the original 21 or even may end up being people that we signed sort of last summer that may need more game time, that may look elsewhere. But we kind of still go when we kind of watch. I'm sure Nat will tell you she'll still find her at whether it's Sheffield or Leicester and things like that. We still go down and try and support them for kind of everything they did in that first year, really.
Yeah, for me it's just it's not. I mean, I know a lot of people were upset when Herrera left. I mean, that's probably what I'd compare her when Devlin left, and people are still upset because she was a really big fan favourite, and it's normal to be upset, but I think people just need to. No one's really talking about Ander Herrera now for the men's. We're not, are we? We've got talking about Donny van de Beek. You know what I mean? I think, you just I hope she does well in Leicester. I want Leicester. If Leicester go up, I'll be delighted for her. Seeing WSL being able to go and play against her. Look, we're going to go play Paris, the men, so we'll play against Herrera. So it's, let's not. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just part of parcel. Let's move on. That's how I think it should be like with it now. I don't, and that's what I think a bit wrong in the women's game. This sort of we're holding on, and I think it's because we have those relationships, and we're more connected to someone, Charlie, than say we were to Herrera, and we feel close to her, and so it's going to hurt, especially if some more leave the OG21. It's going to kill me. I mean, God, it's going to kill me. So, I know it's going to be best for my club. That's what I thought. I thought the badge there is not players. Yeah. So come on, guys.
I think you can always thank them for what they've done, just because they're not with us anymore. We'll still support them. We'll still speak highly of them. Not with us anymore. At some point, they're not going to be with us, even if they stay with us forever. They'll still end up retiring with us. So they won't always be with us, will they? A couple of questions in the comments before we move on to Kirsty Hansen. What do you guys think about the two new signings from the US? I mean, we have covered this, but we will just very briefly, Matt. I haven't heard your opinion on it on here just yet. So, Matt, Preston Heath.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what I saw? I think it was a tweet from somebody in America. And I thought it was a wind-up at first. I mean, as Nat will tell you, you don't tend to get much information in the women's game or many rumours. Something we're trying to hopefully change or, convince people to be a bit more brave with sort of, information and kind of trust fans. But I think, I saw it and it was like, wow, okay, like, is this really happening? I think it's one of them where you look at the club and you think, okay, we're going into season 3. Last year we did fantastic. We came 4th. And here we are with double World Cup winners and people that have won, Olympic medals wanting to come to Manchester for a year. Just kind of embrace what, Man United's all about and the culture kind of case is set. And I think, phenomenal. I couldn't believe that we've managed to get so early in our journey, to world-class players like that. I mean, for me, you talk about those two and everyone kind of goes on about Alex Morgan, but I think for me, these two are more than capable of being up there with her, if not higher for me. Massive in America. Both had very, very good careers. Now, obviously, it's great to see that we've got so many kind of taking an interest from abroad. Just because we signed these two players, I think saw something. I think you said it on Twitter earlier, Nat, about Club Shop and selling out of shirts. I think that just tells you, the story. I don't think, I'm pretty sure there hasn't been at all any women's players where they've turned around and said, no, you can't have that printed on your shirt. I think, that speaks volumes for me.
Yeah, it's happening in the US. I know a few people out there having trouble ordering on United Direct because they've not got enough. It's just they've bombarded it, and I think someone said globally they were trying to book, and only Bruno Fernandes was higher than them two, and it's just amazing to see. The mega store, they've said, oh, I didn't really know much about the women's team, but these two names, Preston Heath, bang, they're just flying off the shelves. That's what everyone's coming in and buying, and I think it's great because it shows now our club what potential this women's team have. If you invest properly in the best players, they'll come back here. And I think things like selling more than people say, but selling just as much as like Bruno and stuff like that. It's just mad, and there's that potential. And I know we've talked on it. Our very first video was about the Yanks, and I think they're going to change the game. I think when Craig says when that tweet first came out, I didn't believe it. I think you were on the Barmy Army podcast and Fiona put it on, and I had to go and look at the Twitter. And I wouldn't call myself an ITK. I like to talk to a few journalists, like to know what's happening. So sometimes I get a little whisper of a truth. And I looked into this guy who was tweeting it, and he was like, I people say tier 1. But then people said, wait for this Meg post, and then she said the same thing. Finish, I knew it was on, and obviously you had our rivals saying, making up other rumours, calling it baseless and all this, and I can't remember it. It's just great. It's great to see. Arsenal fans are upset because they're upset that Tobin's an Arsenal fan and she's come towards, and that's the kind of stuff that you love to see in the women's. That's the kind of stuff that from 2018 we've wanted to build up. I've come into it from the off, and I think I met Rachel Brown-Finnis the first day. She's an England international, and I told her I don't like Man City and I don't like Liverpool, and they're in the Super League, and she went, yeah, bring that rivalry in. She's even said it on MUTV. I think I'm the one who stirred it up a bit because I said Man City had the best fans, and then that's it. And I think we've always come there, and I think they've always laughed at us like, you're nothing, you just go, you 13. Now what? That's all I say. Now what? Chelsea are looking, spending millions, but they're not looking the greatest. Probably go out and beat Birmingham. Yeah, okay. And you beat Bristol, but you can't beat us. You can't beat Everton. Come on, man. It's going to be competitive. It's going to be the most competitive league. And like I said, Everton are even doing bits. I don't think it's going to be Chelsea, City. They will say it is Chelsea, City, Arsenal. I think they're going to be that third one. People even saying, we can win the league. We could get second, things like that. Why not? And, we've all said it amongst ourselves and saying, winning the cup any cup would just be fantastic as well for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's definitely possible, isn't it? Yeah. Matt, the last player that we're going to talk about, Kirsty Hansen. Mm-hmm. So last week, I bet on the show, and how Kirsty Hansen FC he is. And I am as well, to be honest. She's completely won me over last season. And what are your thoughts on the progression of Kirsty from what you've seen?
Yeah, Kirsty again. Somebody I saw at Doncaster. Doncaster were a WSL team at the time. Kirsty was, she's still a young player, so obviously she was, younger. But yeah, I think massively developed. I think Doncaster was one of them where she was kind of, starting out a career. Again, you're in the top league, young player. It can be difficult. And I think just over the years, you've seen her kind of adapt in terms of she's very strong now. I think she's worked hard on a kind of a gym side and a physical side. Very quick. puts in a dangerous ball. I think you know what you're getting with Kirsty. You know, two things to me I always look at is hard work, you know, and commitment. And I think Kirsty's somebody that comes in, she maybe doesn't get the credit she deserves for her work rate. You know, I think she's up and down. She's putting a ball in. You know, she can cut inside. She did it a couple of times in season 1. You'd see a couple of goals with her left foot, and I think for me that's been the progression. Like Doncaster was kind of her breakthrough and her kind of learning season, so to speak. I think as you know, and again she was on like the youth teams of Scotland, kind of you know getting a feel for football in general, really. And then obviously season 1, I think, you know, since kind of she was finishing off uni then, wasn't she? And I think I'm sure, you know, like Ben will have likely mentioned and said, you know, I think since she's finished all her studies, I think we've seen a better player. Season 2, you know, okay, she was slightly unfortunate. She did have a couple of injuries. But I think, yeah, again, whenever she's been in the side, you've known what you're getting with her. I think she's very kind of, underrated for me. And I think, you know, you saw the Birmingham game, I actually tweeted at halftime, you know, we need to get her more in the game. Luckily, second half, we did that. And obviously, you know, you saw what she brought to the team in terms of goals and assists. But yeah, I think for me, again, massively kind of underrated, really. Maybe not everybody notices kind of her involvement within the team. But I think, you know, if you do sit and watch her and watch what she does and what she brings during a game, you know, you will see we've got one very good player there.
I just want to agree with everything that Matt's saying, but I just want to say as well about Kirsty, what I remember from the first season to now, difference in confidence is just amazing. And, you know, for example, if she had a bad game in the first year, she would blame herself. Oh, I didn't do this right. Oh, I didn't do that. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you know, and I think I remember a couple of times she used to come out and just say to her, well, how do you think I've been? And I get it, like players want to know what fans think and stuff. And I just think, why you bother? Like, I used to think, why bother what I think? You know, like, why are you asking me this? And I do love it that they do, but I just think, why you bothered? And, you know, someone like LJ, she wouldn't care, really. You know what I mean? She'd be like, I am the best, no matter what. And I think that's an attitude that we're seeing more from Kirsty, you know. We're just seeing that she's just growing and she's believing in herself. And I think, it was the uni maybe that held her back a bit. And I think she's even said, you know, I wasn't this, and I'm grateful that I was given an opportunity to play in the WSL. And I think the start of the WSL, she even, you know, didn't start it. You know what I mean? I think it was Jess on the right wing that started a lot of the games, and it's just a credit to her, like being in the gym, working harder, never giving up, just setting the attitude as well. I think for all the younger ones coming through, like, you know, you might have a bad season, but if you put in this work rate and dedication, commitment to the badge, you will come through. You know, you're not playing for Man United because Katie's your friend kind of thing. You know what I mean? You're playing because you've got talent there. So dedicate yourself to it, which is doing, commit yourself to it, and you'll shine. And I think, you know, I'm not saying that players shouldn't be confident players, it's a good thing, but the fact that now she just plays the game all the time and it's not worried about things. She, you know, play a bad pass once, okay, it doesn't matter, let me go again. You know, I think potentially in the championship, we should, one bad pass, my whole game was rubbish. No. It's, you know, keep that same drive that you have. Don't dip it, you know. It doesn't matter what you do wrong once because you'll do it the other 10 times right, you know. And I just think, you know, having her around, you know, the younger players, I think they definitely look up to her. And that's what you love to see. She's come through it. Yes, she had to go, but now she's come back, and I think people will still look at her because I reckon, you know, there are those old pictures dotted around. You know, look at her when she was 12 as well. Now look at her now. You know.
Hasib, we will answer your questions at the end. Thank you for the comments. Look, I said loads of positive things on Kirsty Hanson last week, so I don't want to repeat myself. But Matt, just finish off with yourself regarding Kirsty Hanson. I mean, I think she signed a 1-year extension or 1-year deal. Surely she's got to stay a bit longer than 1 more year. We'd hope. I mean, what are your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I mean, listen, again, you know, I think she deserves that new deal. You know, we've kind of between the three of us, we've touched on what she brings to the side. I think, that there is more to come. It's like Nat said, she comes in, she works hard, she knows the level. And I think what's going to be great is that, this year she's got somebody to learn off. And I think with the two Americans, I think for me, there's nobody better than, Tobin Heath or, coming in and saying, right, I'm going to challenge you for your place. However, I can also help you game and teach you this. I think personality-wise, she kind of reminds me similar to Scholes. You don't hear too much from her. She's kind of, a very quiet, kind of guarded person, but what you're getting on the pitch. She's going to work hard. Just comes in, does the job, and gets on with it. Yeah, goes home. Yeah. But no, I think it's very, very good now to see a more developed and more rounded player from kind of that first season now to what's going into our third. And like I said, thoroughly deserves that 1 year deal, because I think there's a lot more to come for me. Providing she can stay fit and hopefully get a consistent run of games. I think again, very, very powerful, very quick, and we're lucky that we've got her as part of our attacking kind of wide player.
We spoke about it last week and the week before about how players that come and play can learn off Preston Heath and Kirsty will be exactly the same. There are three more players who we don't really get to see much of, unfortunately. That obviously come from our academy. Two goalkeepers, Emily Ramsey, Fran Bentley, and Rebecca May. What, if anything, what can these three players do to either get game time or see more of them? Obviously, they've been out on loan. We have got Conti Cup games. We have got FA Cup games. Can you see them playing any games this season at all, Matt?
Well, obviously we've loaned Fran out, which to me makes sense. She did go out to Sheffield. Got game time there, half a season. I think for me that was the right move. The deal with Blackburn is obviously she still trains with us, but she plays games for Blackburn. I think that's a great kind of little loan arrangement. I think for me it's very important, because Championship teams, it kind of varies the training. Some clubs, the majority are once a week. You may get the odd ones that are kind of twice a week, and then obviously if you're professional, sort of 3 or 4 times. But I think in terms of development for Fran, Blackburn as well, it's local, so United can kind of keep an eye on her. She gets the game time she needs, so ultimately let's see where that goes. She was somebody I'd seen, she played at City's reserves, again won a couple of trophies there. City let her go for whatever reason, one reason or another, and we've picked her up. And again, she's a young keeper. I think she's similar age to Rambo. So, I think with that case, he's kind of looking to the future a little bit, as she has done with kind of, outfield players as well. And then obviously you have got Emily Ramsey, who, again, she went on loan, sadly cut short due to everything going on. I think she played, 2-3 games at Sheffield. Obviously me and Nat had saw her last summer for England. She played a game at the Euros. And I think for me, potential-wise, she's very tall. She's young. She's good, great shot stopper. I think there's things to come from her. Again, it's just for me a consistent run of games. I think I said to Nat the other day, I'd like to see her in Conti Cup games. People say, oh well, can she play against City and Everton? I'm thinking, well, why not? Other clubs have done it. I'll use City as an example. Threw in Ellie Roebuck, I think aged 18, 17 maybe, in the WSL. And look at her now, she's gone from strength to strength. And I think if we can follow a similar model with Rambo, give her a go in the Conti Cup games. If we draw a lower league club in the FA Cup, let's try her out, and let's see what you can do. And then obviously finally Rebecca May, Nat will be able to tell you more about her. I saw her in the Reading away game last year. Came on, very, very good, impressive sort of 10-minute little cameo. And again, I think it's difficult because obviously we've got, I don't know where people are, this daft rule where if these development players are named in the squad for 2 games, they have to be registered as a full first team member. Now, obviously, you're capped as well in the women's game at 24. So bearing in mind, going forward is that if we reach that cap of 24, it then becomes very difficult in terms of, giving other youngsters, so to speak, this bit of game time, whether it be a cup or something. So I think for me, the way forward would be loans. you know, can we maybe get Rebecca alone where she'll still train with us, and then, you know, maybe she goes to Blackburn. And the same with Maria Edwards. You know, I think Nat again will tell you there's, you know, a few talented players in that development team. It's just a case of, you know, can they kick on, keep performing for the developments? If they get a chance, you know, with the first team, whether that be training or whether that be, you know, 10 minutes in a cup game or 20 minutes, however long, I think, yeah, let's go for it. That's always been the United way. Can we keep it going? And just, yeah, coach these players into, you know, something special, and let's see where it takes us.
Yeah. On that.
For me, Fran, she went on loan the first season to Sheffield. She did really well there. Obviously, last year she was injured most of it, and then just as she was coming back, it was cut. And then obviously this year, season on loan at Blackburn, I think is the best thing for her. In terms of Rambo, I think she's the best, one of the best England keepers coming up. She's in the under 21s, under 20, whatever, under 20, the one below the first team, basically. For England, I think she did really well just before it's cut. For me, I think that's what pains me the most about it, is that we sent her to Sheffield in January and she got about 3 or 4 games, like Matt says, and I think that's what pains me the most about it, because she would have got full, half a season like what Fran got, but I think she would have really thrived under it. And I think the fact that COVID happened, it's taken away that time that we needed. But for me, she's been given number 1 for a reason. Potentially she could be our next number 1 player in all the cup games. And like people might say, City though, and who cares? You know, I think like Trainer says, Ellie Woodward played, was just thrown in. I mean, for example, if Mary gets injured tomorrow, who's going to have to play versus her? It's going to be Ramsey anyway. So for me, she's going to have warm-up games. I think they'll be definitely. I'll be shocked if she doesn't start that game versus Liverpool. Shocked. I mean, because that's a championship club. Yes, they are professional, but the championship, not playing at the level that they play. So for me, you have to play that, and I can't see, Mary kicking off about that. You know, she's wearing number 1. She'll know that the future is about Ramsey, but it's like you say, being patient, taking your time when it comes. Essentially, you could say maybe she didn't get enough opportunities in the championship. I think a lot of it was, tough. And like I said, what kills me the most is losing that time that she could have had at Sheffield, where she would have had to play a solid run of games. And I'm not going to say that's going to kill her or anything, but that's the most disappointing thing for me out of this whole COVID, is that Emily lost that time, and it would have been good to see. In terms of Rebecca, playing in the dev still for us, I think got in the under 19 England women's squad, which was really good after her appearance at Reading. She's 18 years old. There's a new rule now where you can loan out development players. It wasn't before, you couldn't loan them out. It was something about this and that, but there's a new rule where you can loan them out to championship side. You might even be able to loan them out to the WSL side, but I think Katie likes to loan out to championship because she likes to keep them training with her. And I think that's what we might see. I don't know if loans can happen now because the window's closed for the women. But in January, you've got Meg Hornby in there as well. Yes, she's not come up our ranks like Rebecca May. Rebecca May has been at United since since a lot of these kids. Meg Hornby, probably a name that you saw on the bench a lot. Name that you saw score for pre-season. She's in and around the first team now, training with Preston Eve. That's someone who's, she's a winger. That's someone who they'll definitely help. I mean, God. But for me, you might see her go on loan in the January. But yeah, someone like Maria going on loan. And I think, just a team like Blackburn, they're not at the top. I think somewhere like Sheffield, they might not be on now because you're thinking we can just go for the league. You want to be at, say, a Blackburn or whoever else is local around there, just getting your game time. Yeah, you don't want to get hammered this and that, but Blackburn won the other day. I know, Pam's there. Charlotte Newsham, who was with our dev, she's there, so she'll know some of the girls. So it's nice that they'll have that connection for me. I think, yeah, they can still train with the first team. They'll be good. But who knows? Maria's only just 17. And I mean, for me, if you're old enough, you're good enough. She is one of the best talent first team. And I know we can have a youth review, hopefully John soon, so we can talk about like these 17, 18-year-old girls coming through the ranks. But you know, someone like Lauren, who started in the championship, the time that she got, essentially, if Lauren was in the WSL that first year, she would have been bullied off the ball. I mean, the first season in the WSL wasn't the best. I think we're going to see an even better Lauren now. When you think, how are you going to see that? But you know, Lauren was 17 in the championship, so it shows it can be done. But I mean, when I look at Maria, that's what I think. Lauren James, and Lauren James hasn't even made it yet. So, you know, there's still a lot of the work. She needs to work hard. Everyone in that team needs to work hard. But the pathway's there now. The pathway's there from when you're 5 years old to go and play for the first team now. So I think, you know, we said it. Football is hard. You know, especially, you know, going from that 2021 to the first team is going to be even harder, because I think in the women, I mean, I don't want to go into it, but it goes under 16, under 21, and I think that jumps too much. So a lot of the development team are 17, so they're thinking, I'm ready to play first team, so doing it in the dev, but you know, it's different. You're only a baby, but the way that they smash it up, some of these kids, and Rebecca's like that, big, strong. I mean, she didn't get bullied by any of the Reading players, and the way that, for me, I just see her brushing off these other players around her. I mean, God, she is strong. She's a beast. She's big, powerful. So who knows? But that midfield's packed, so maybe you might see her going around again. I don't know.
Yeah, just so quickly, you mentioned Maria Edwards. I remember seeing her for the first time in a pre-season friendly. I think it was in Norway, and she just came on. I thought she just done amazing in that, like, 20 minutes that she played. Seeing Casey Stoney's face when we put that shot on and nearly scored as well. Casey knows.
We would have fallen onto the pitch. That's how mad we were going.
That's it, mate. Yeah, absolutely. Look, we've been going for over an hour. Answer a couple of questions here. Does the women's team have a director of football? Regarding
I'll say this. No, they don't. Casey does it all. Like how Fergie does it. That's how it runs so well.
Yeah, absolutely. And where do you guys think we'll finish this season? I think top 3 and a cup final. I think we've got to go for that. Matt?
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I actually rattled a few Arsenal fans by saying we're going to take their position in the top 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think for me, yeah, top 3, and again, you know, a cup final. Not fussed which cup, but I think it's got to be, you know, obviously last year did fantastic. And I think for me now to see progression, you know, we've had semi-finals twice now, so we've got to be kicking on in these cups, and kind of we've got a bigger squad now, more experienced squad. So yeah, I think top 3 is definitely achievable, and a cup final.
And last one, regarding the Champions League draw, I'm not too sure if that's aimed at the men's team, because that was announced today, where we got PSG and RB Leipzig. I think that's what you're probably referring to. Look, this is the tournament that we wanted to be in the men's team, and you know, you got to play the best team. That's what we want, isn't it? So
we want to be for the girls as well. You've got to play it. You've got to beat what you've got to beat. You've got to beat what's in front of you. You can't cry when you're there.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we have been going for a little while. Thank you for joining me, Matt, and as normal, yourself, Natalie. If people want to find you on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Natalie, take your socials.
Natalie17, it's there on the bottom, and Naughty Natty B on the Instagram.
Cool. Matt, yourself?
Yeah, I've put mine on screen as well. It's at MattCrane15. That's the same for Twitter and Instagram. And then anyone that obviously isn't following Barmy Army, get on that as well, at Barmy Army MUWFC. Just come and get involved. You know, you may not be, you know, familiar with the women's game. That doesn't matter. You may be new to football on the women's side. Completely fine. You know, just come and just say hello, introduce yourself. Everyone's, you know, friendly bunch. You know, obviously we can't be together at Lee. However, you know, let's get chatting, Twitter, Instagram, whichever. So yeah, get involved. It's great to see new faces. Yeah,
it's a great icebreaker on Twitter. You know, that's how I got to know you guys on Twitter first, and then obviously I felt comfortable meeting you at the games as well. And regarding the Barmy Army, there is a match preview. Was it yesterday, Matt? Wednesday night? Regarding the next match on Sunday. So I'm thinking of the podcast. The usually is on a Wednesday, isn't there? So
Sunday.
there you go. I haven't seen it myself yet, so I need to watch that myself. But yeah, please jump on the YouTube channel on the Barmy Army MUWFC as well. And that's it, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you to the guys in the comments. Thank you again, Matt. We'll have to get you back on sometime next month. And yeah, no problem. And we'll see you guys soon.